Well, hello. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. Let's see. I'm out for another night of imaging. I've already started. Let's see. It's about 2:30 a.m. and my target for tonight is the Lobster Claw Nebula. All right. It has a catalog designation of, I believe, SH2-157. All right, yeah, it's an emission nebula in the constellation Cassiopeia, and it has a magnitude of 10, which makes it relatively faint. It also lies about 8,000 light years away from Earth. So actually, it's probably one of your closer targets. It seems like around this time of the morning, right now, probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock, a lot of the targets are actually becoming visible from my backyard. And this is one that was nice and high, which would give me a few hours, several hours, 4 or 5 hours of exposure time. I started imaging right after I got home from work, and I probably started around 1:45 with my first exposure. And so far everything is looking pretty good. Being that it's very faint, it was a little bit difficult to see on astrophotography tool the preview of the image, but what I did was I looked at some of the FITS files after it saved it, and everything's looking pretty promising. At this point, I plan on getting at least 4.5 hours worth of exposure time. I ended up getting started just a little bit later than I wanted to because there were some lingering clouds hanging around. So I had to put it off just a little bit and give those clouds a chance to get by. But the forecast for the remainder of the night is clear. Of course, that's subject to change. We may have a few stray clouds coming through, but so far everything is looking good. All right, the guiding is looking good. Right now, it's between 0.6 and 0.8. So I'm relatively happy with that. I'm using, again, the Optolong L Extreme filter, which has given me some very good results. Okay, I'm using the Explore Scientific AR102 refractor telescope, and it has a focal length of 663 millimeters, but I'm using the 0.8 focal reducer, which brings that down to 530 millimeters. So that's giving me a perfect amount of focal length to get a nice tight shot on this particular nebula. Well, I guess that's probably about it for right now. And if you'll stick around, I will show you the processed image. Well, thanks for staying with me. Well, I guess first of all, what I should start off by saying is that the footage at the very beginning that you just watched was actually shot from an imaging session in November of last year. And I decided to pull out some old imaging sessions and process some of that data because the weather here has been absolutely horrible for about the last, 3 to 4 weeks. And, the few windows that I've had to actually get out and start imaging just didn't fit into my schedule. So anyway, it's been a prime opportunity to go back and process some of the old data from some previous imaging sessions. Well, also, I apologize for the out of focus and the noisy video on that. Well, let's see. As you know, I imaged the Lobster Claw Nebula. Now, this is one of those targets that's pretty unique. And the first time that I saw this image, it really stood out. And I said, wow, that looks pretty interesting. And the only question was, would I be able to image it from my position in my backyard? And obviously the answer was yes. And fortunately, that time of year, it's up pretty high because it's in the northern hemisphere. And I can actually get maybe about 5 hours, as much as maybe 6, depending upon when I get started, of imaging time on this particular target. I think on this particular night I was able to get nearly 5 hours. So I'm actually relatively happy with how things turned out. As I mentioned earlier, I shot this particular target with a one-shot color camera, the ZWO 533MC Pro, and I processed all of the data in PixInsight and put the finishing touches on things in Photoshop, as usual. Well, in spite of the bad weather, it's actually turned out to be somewhat of a blessing in disguise, because as I just said, it's given me an opportunity to go back and start processing some of the data that I hadn't gotten around to actually working with yet. I had some pretty good runs over the last few months, and I've collected quite a bit of data on a number of different targets. So I'll just have to wait and see how the weather holds up. They're calling for cloudy skies next weekend as well, but of course we know that's subject to change, so I will be keeping my eyes open. All right, that's about all I have for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it, and without further ado, here is the finished edited image of the Lobster Claw Nebula. All right, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to comment, like, and please subscribe. All right, until next time, and clear skies.